I think it had given her kind of this subconscious permission to start thinking outside of the box. Hello, welcome to Coach Grid. My name is Joe Spearden, here as always with Kirsten Davis.
Hello.
Hi, Kirsten. Today, we're excited. We're going to be talking about a case study, meaning somebody that we've worked with before. And the reason we're excited to talk about this is because of the massive impact that Coach Grid was able to have in her business and really in her life as we were able to show up and help her through the processes that she went through in her coaching business. So I think to start off, Kirsten, you had the initial interaction, initial relationship. Mm-hmm. Maybe just kind of say and preface this where she was at in her coaching business and what she was doing.
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying this is April Hiatt. A few episodes back, we did a full interview with her and it's awesome. So if you want to go check that out and get to know her, you can hear a little bit more about her business from her side, but I'll kind of sum it up here for the purpose of this video. Yeah. So she runs a women's mastermind group and it's national. And so what happens is people can come in to these cohorts. They're 8 to 9 people, so they're pretty intimate. And they're business owners who are crushing it. She tries to mix different fields into each group so that you get an array of perspectives. And then everybody comes together and talks about how to support each other, make business better. They come with an idea or a question. They're like, I'm trying to figure out this tech. Does anybody here know how to do that? And so it's a true peer-to-peer mastermind. And she has different tiers, and all of this will become relevant as to how complex and how much time she was spending manually. And if you have a coaching business that's grown in any way, shape, or form, you know how complex it can start to get with all the tiers and details and, but I gave, anyway. So she has the growth tier that has its own set of rules and benefits. And then the elite tier, which is an exclusive tier for experts at a certain level in business. And then she also has in-person chapters that are popping up all across the country. And then to lead those chapters, you have to be a Wise Woman certified leader. And so she also has a certification and a leader development program that she facilitates and you can certify. And then you can actually get paid to lead cohorts within her organization. And she helps you fill your cohort as it expands across the country. So as you can imagine, that's quite a few things that she was doing all of this with a notebook and a little bit of Excel, but mostly a notebook. So within these groups, there's trios that are rotating every couple of weeks and there's hot seats. And so every call, there's a certain number of people that get hot seats and there are presentations. So you get to share, it's called Share Wisdom. And so she's manually calculating all of these different arrangements. And so when she came to us, the original call that I had with her was, we were just brainstorming strategy. She was like, hey, can I pick your brain about how I can roll out the in-person stuff? And over the course of that conversation, which we do a lot with people when they're like, hey, I have this idea. Could you just give me your thoughts? And we're always happy to give our perspective and thoughts. And as we were talking, she's like, okay, I love your idea, but I can't do that. She's like, I'm already spending a lot of time organizing what I have right now. That's really complex because it was this rotation system to keep the in-person stuff working the way she wanted it to. And I was like, well, I can do that. And so then the app was born. So that kind of sets the stage.
I think the thing there that maybe she didn't recognize was how much time she was spending in that. Because just like all of us, that didn't all blow up at once.
Yeah.
That was built over time. And so there's this like complexity creep that shows up in your business. And the things that you do that only take 30 seconds, but all of a sudden you have 200 things that only take 30 seconds. Well, now it's 2 hours out of your day just doing those things. And so even just having that conversation brought the awareness of like, oh my gosh, there is so much that I'm doing that isn't the thing that I'm really, really good at.
Yeah. So for her, even like little things. So you might be thinking like, well, I don't run a mastermind group, but things even just in her day-to-day facilitation of these groups, she was manually posting and sending out replay links. And so what we did with that is we created an integration where she sets up the cohort and it automatically generates the Zoom call calendar, automatically sends it out to everybody. And also in the app, it pops up every day when the call is starting and says, click here to join, and it automatically opens Zoom. And when the call's done, the replay automatically sends to the app and then pings the person and says, your replay is ready. And then they can open it and watch the replay in the app right then. So just even that, when you think about 12 different clients or, 4 different groups, or that in itself is huge. And another thing that came up in the day-to-day facilitation was, she was like, I just realized I told all my leaders that I'll be giving them these branding kits and marketing kits to help promote the program and just delivery of all these different details. And she's like, I was so worried. And then I realized, I have an app. I can just put it in the app and it was already solved. So that was another big one.
I think the thing that was really funny was in this initial conversation that you guys brainstorm all of this stuff. I remember you telling me at the end of the conversation, you're like, was there anything else? She's like, no, I don't think there's anything else. But, if I think of anything, I'll let you know. But the way that conversation had gone was, I think it had given her kind of this subconscious permission to start thinking outside of the box that she'd been in. And so then all of a sudden you're getting calls, or not calls, but voice notes every morning. Like, hey, I just had this idea. Is this a thing that we could do? And for me, that's one of the most exciting things with any of our clients is when we first meet, the challenge is showing them how big it really can be in their business.
Yeah.
And then seeing them get really excited about that and realizing all the problems that they can offload or automate or just, eliminate completely through the tech and through the different things that we bring into them.
Yeah. So, and that happened, I'll speak to one of the big things that came through in this process. So to kind of speak, I kind of set the stage, but I haven't explained how we solved for that. So what her app is now is we built her an app where a member can join, and there's a free tier where she has a really big Facebook group too. It's really active and awesome. And so we replicated that in the app just to keep them on the momentum that's already built there. But now there's features that they can upsell into. For example, they can be listed in the directory and they can say, I'm open to virtual coffee, or I am open to a group meetup, or this is my industry, or this is my website. And each of those things are in a paid tier. So that's upping her sales every month, her month to month, just recurring revenue. And then as far as the groups go, if they want to join a group, they just click join. And before, she would have to wait till it got to at least 6 people and then send it out. And if it didn't get to 6 people, then she would have to figure out where to put the people into other groups so that everybody still had a spot. And the system handles all of that. It figures out where to put people. It knows who's been together before and tries to match people with new people. And then once the group is full, then it automatically calculates the meeting schedule, who has hot seats, who has trios. Right. Sends out the schedule to each of those people, reminds them when it's their turn, and anybody can go to the call calendar and see exactly what's happening. And then basically everything that she was doing manually now is just automated.
This reminds me a lot of kind of an underlying principle that we speak to, which is, do you let your processes determine your vision, or does your vision determine your processes? And a lot of times somebody will say, well, this is my vision. And then they go find a software or a program or an app that they think will get there. And really in subtle ways, they say, oh, well, it doesn't do this. And so I'm going to modify my vision. I'm going to compromise what it is I want to do because this doesn't do it. And it just chinks, just these little teeny chinks in the armor, right? This little, it chips away at the vision that you have. And the good thing about April having done all this manually is she was true to her vision. She had to work really hard, but she was very true to her vision. And if she had just gone and tried to find a software that fulfilled on the entire vision, it was impossible. She hasn't had to compromise the vision of what she wants. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, a lot of what we've built isn't even built specifically for right now. It's built for when she's at 100,000 followers or
Right.
1 million followers or subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's set up for that. It's prepared for that because
It's going to make it happen so much faster. Honestly, that's what we were talking about is we were doing a brainstorm session the other day because we have it, like it's running and we're like, okay, now how do we optimize? How do we make this even better? And she was like, well, it would be nice if I could do this. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to have it do this. And she's like, well, I don't need to do that. And I was like, but you will soon, because once you have this in place, subconsciously, you know what your systems can support. And so there's a part of you that's going to be scared to bring in more if you know it's going to be really overwhelming or even impossible for you to manually execute on.
Absolutely.
And so I was telling her when I build, I'm building for where we're going so that your brain is open on even on a subconscious level to bringing in all of those people because it's going to be a piece of cake to get them onboarded and organized in the system.
100%. That makes me think of that concept again of like you grow to the level that you know that you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And I remember I saw a reel or something the other day that they were asking the question, if you brought in 1,000 new clients tomorrow, could your business handle it? And literally, no exaggeration, 99.9% of the people that we've met with, they can't.
Yeah.
So how they'll say like, oh, I want to grow and I would love to get 1,000 new clients, but they don't have anything ready to receive that. And so it's really cool with her that she can confidently say like, I could 10X my business tomorrow and be okay.
Yeah.
Like people wouldn't be slipping through the cracks. I would be able to have the resources and the different things that I need, the assets that I need to handle that level of business.
Yeah, it would actually only make her business stronger. There wouldn't be any recalibration period. She might bring in another leader, but other than that, it's all set up and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. As far as the fulfillment goes, it's there.
Yeah. So the last thing as far as, so we got all of this built and she was like, I have this conference coming up. Is there anything we could do for that? And this is where it gets really cool with custom software. When you realize that you want to do something new, you want to bring in a new offer or a completely, different thing that's complementary, but in other systems that aren't yours, you have to go figure out which software is going to work and then how to connect it and how to get your users used to an entire new system and app and be like, well, for this go here, but for this go here, and they don't, and you get churn and you lose a lot of long-term value. Like the amount of money that you could make over time decreases from each customer. And so she said, I have this conference coming up. Is there anything we could do for that? And I was like, so glad you asked. Like, that's amazing. Because yes, we can. And we were able to build an entire system for that where people can come in and instead of like a checkboard, they can just scan a QR code and their app knows that they were there for session 1, day 1. And then there's speakers throughout the conference and you pick like which speaker you want to go see, as a lot of conferences have. And so they're like the speaker schedule is on there and people can sign up to be sponsors of this conference. And so there's a sponsor highlight all the way through the app. So the sponsors it's win-win-win for everybody. And then people in the app can also see all of April's other programs. And so it's automatically feeding back into everything that's already built.
Yeah. And for me, that was the biggest part. I've been a part of and organized a lot of different events and conferences. And I saw this many, many times where people say, we're going to build an app specifically for this event. Okay, awesome. People would download it, it would do its thing, and then they would never look at it again. Mm-hmm. They would never engage in the business again. And what this is this is a module within her app that she turns on, and it has marketing and it has all the stuff that builds up to the conference.
Yeah.
It has all the features and benefits during it. And then it's designed to ease the people from the conference into the other stuff, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So now that becomes doubly valuable for her, not just in what comes from the conference, but that becomes a funnel for all of the other stuff that she's building in a really cohesive way. Mm-hmm. So, wrapping this up, last thoughts. What do you, if somebody was looking at this and thinking like, oh, I'm the same thing, what do you think the hesitation is because April was all in. When she caught the vision, she was like, yep, absolutely, I'm going to do this. But there's others that don't. There's the others that don't really engage in that way. What do you think they need to hear? What do you think maybe is going through their head that's keeping them from doing this and massively changing their business the way that she's done?
Almost everybody that I have explained to is pretty excited. It's either a yes or, okay, we're doing a couple other things, but let's keep in touch. And, they're pretty excited about it. What do you think about that?
So I think it's the same thing. It's simply the fact that they don't know that it exists.
Yeah.
So it's the willingness to have the conversation. It's the willingness to say there might be something beyond the paradigm that I've been operating in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I admire most about April is that she is very consistent in the way that she shows up, and simultaneously she's very open to growth and very open to the idea that there might be a better way.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, they kind of assume this is the way that it is. This is the way that it has to be. And like I was saying before, they then modify their vision to fit this paradigm that they've lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here today with us. If this has resonated with you, if this is something where you want to have that conversation and start to dive in and explore what's possible in your business, you can follow us or find us on Instagram at Coach Grid, or go to coachgrid.com and engage with us there.